In this lesson, we're going to talk about polynomial division. So by the end of the lesson, you should be able to figure out the quotient of two polynomial expressions. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with long division. And before we do that, let's just remind ourselves how we actually do long division. It's probably been a while. So say we have 1,523 and I want to divide it by 8. So the first thing I do is I figure out, well, how can we fit 8 into 1? And it doesn't. So we go to the 15. So it fits into 15. 8 goes into 15 one times. 1 times 8 is 8. And then we go ahead and we subtract. So basically what we're figuring out is that we can put the number 8 into 1,500 over 100 times. And this is called my remainder. And then I bring my remainder down. Try to subtract. I bring down a 2. So now I'm trying to figure out about 720, how many times can 8 go in? And it goes in about 90 times. 9 times 8 is exactly 72. Doesn't leave me a remainder. So now I'm going to figure out how many times does 8 go into 2. It doesn't, so I put a 0 to represent that. And this is my remainder. And my remainder, remember what it means is I have exactly 2 out of 8 left. So we can do the same thing with polynomials, but it just might look a little different. But that's okay. We can do it. Okay, setup is the same exact way that we've done it before. The only thing to caution about is make sure that for every single exponent that you should have, so if the highest exponent is 3, we should have a quadratic, The setup is a little different when we do long division though, but not too different. So we still start with our division sign. We write our, remember this is called the divisor, 3x cubed. Okay, if 3 is the highest exponent or the degree of the polynomial, then we should have a degree 2 term, a degree 1 term, and a degree 0 term. If any of those terms are missing, we just put in a 0 where they would be. And then our divisor is out here. And now what we're going to do is where it's a little teeny bit different. So what I want to do is I want to figure out what do I need to multiply x by to give me exactly 3x cubed. So I think to myself, okay, x times what equals 3x cubed. So I know that I need to do x times x squared to make it x cubed. And my coefficient of 1 times what would make a 3? It would be 3. And that's how I figure out how many times it goes in, approximately. So that I'm going to write, it's quadratic, degree 2, so I'm going to write it right here to keep my place value. And now I go ahead and I multiply. So I'm going to take that 3x squared and I'm going to multiply it by my divisor, x plus 4. So I'm going to use the distributive property. 3x squared times x gives me exactly 3x cubed. 3x squared times 4 gives me exactly 12x squared. And now, just like with long division, I subtract. Here's the catch. You got to remember you're subtracting all of the expressions in what we have. So 3x cubed minus 3x cubed makes 0. 2 take away 12 is negative 10x squared. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing, except this time I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, what times the x is going to make negative 10x squared? So x times what equals negative 10x squared. So I know x times x gives me x squared, and 1 times negative 10 is going to give me negative 10x. So I'm going to write negative 10x, and then I'm going to distribute negative 10x times x plus 4. So that's going to give me negative 10x times x gives me the negative 10x squared, which I already have, and then negative 10x times, oh shit, Okay, and that's our remainder, but we still have other stuff that we can bring down. So remember, in long division, your next step is always bring down after you subtract. So we have negative 37x when we bring down. So now I'm going to repeat. I need to match, what do I need to multiply x by to give me this value, negative 10x squared. So I go and I say, okay, well, x times x makes x squared, and x times negative 10 is going to be 1. So my next factor, or term, in my quotient is negative 10x. So now I'm going to take negative 10x, and I'm going to multiply it by x plus 4. So I get negative 10 times x. X is negative 10x squared, and those should be a perfect match. And negative 10x times 4 is negative 40x. So now I'm going to subtract. Negative 10 minus negative 10 makes 0. Negative 37 minus negative 40, really remember it's plus 40. So I get 3x, and now I'm ready to bring down plus 12. So this is going to be the last one we do because I have nothing else to bring down, which means if I have anything left over other than 0, it's a remainder. So remember again, trying to match x. What do I multiply x by to make it a 3x? And so I know it's x times 3 will give me 3x. It's positive, so I'm going to put plus. And now I'm going to distribute 3 times x plus 4. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. And then I'm going to subtract. 3x, take away 3x makes 0. 12, take away 12 makes 0 as well. So my remainder is 12. And this is my quotient. Okay, now one of the things you might notice about this one is it's not just an x to the first. So let's go ahead and set it up. Okay, now we're ready. So first thing we want to do is remember we want to take 2x and we want to say, okay, what does it take to get to 2x cubed? Because that's my first term. So I know I got to multiply it just by x squared. And x squared is quadratic, so I'm going to write that right here so I keep our place values. And now I'm going to distribute x squared to 2x plus 7. X squared times 2x, 2x cubed. X squared times 7 is 7x squared. And now I'm going to subtract. Okay, so when we subtract, we get 0x cubed. 5 minus 7 is negative 2x squared. And then I bring down my negative 19x. So now I'm trying to figure out 2x times what makes negative 2x squared. So that has to be a negative or opposite of x. So now we have negative 1x times 2x makes negative 2x squared. Negative 1x times 7 makes negative 7x. Now I subtract. This makes 0. Negative 19 minus negative 7 makes negative 12. And then remember the next step is to bring down. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, what 2x times what makes negative 12x, and that would be makes negative 12x, and that would be negative 6. Negative 6 times 2x would make negative 12x, which is what we want. And negative 6 times 7 is negative 42. So I end up with no remainder. And that's my quotient. Okay, so this last one, we're going to actually end up with a remainder. So we're going to look at how to do it. So what I want you to do is go ahead and practice long division on your own and see how you do. And I'm not going to show every single step. Okay, so let's see how it went. So we had 6x cubed minus 13x squared. Okay, so I started with 2x squared. So it gives me 6x squared minus 4x squared. Negative 13 minus negative 4 makes negative 9. 12x. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply times negative 3x. That gives me negative 9x squared plus 6x. 0, 12 minus 6 is going to be 6x. And now I bring down my plus 6. And I know that 3x goes into 6x exactly 2 times. So that gives me 6x minus 4 because 2 times negative 2 is 4. These make a 0, but 6 minus negative 4 makes a 10, and that's my remainder. So when you write your remainder, you should have gotten remainder 10, but we write it as plus another term. 10 over the divisor, 3x minus 2. And so we see that my quotient is not a polynomial because this term here does not meet the criteria for making it a polynomial. But it is our answer to our long division problem. Okay, there's a second method for long division called synthetic division. I wrote down some steps for you. That's not on your notes. So it's just something you can refer to. And this is much different than you've seen before, but it actually is a much easier algorithm for being able to do it. So it says, first it says you have to find the 0 of the linear divisor. So in this problem right here, that's my divisor. If I go ahead and I take x plus 4 and I set it equal to 0, I get x is negative 4. So when I set up this problem, I have to use negative 4 as the 0 of my divisor. Okay, and then we're going to have to write out our polynomial with only its coefficients. So let's look at the setup. The other thing is the symbol that we use for synthetic division is a little bit different. And so we write our divisor. And then the symbol I use is like an upside down division, but it's a little bit longer. And I'll show you why. So we're going to end up with 2 rows of numbers. The first row of numbers is my coefficients. So the coefficient of x cubed is a positive 1. The coefficient of x squared is negative 1. The coefficient of x to the 1st is negative 27. And the coefficient of x to the 0 is negative 28. So I have power of 3, power of 2, power of 1, power of 0. Okay, so the first thing it says to do is you bring down the first coefficient, 1. Then, after that, it's always multiply the coefficient by the divisor, 1 times negative 4, and then we add. Okay, so negative 1 and negative 4 makes negative 5. And now I'm going to go ahead and do negative 5 times 4, negative 4. So that makes positive 20, and then I add. Negative 27 to 20 makes negative 7. And then I repeat. I go ahead and take my number times negative 4 this time. Gives me exactly 28. And then I add negative 28 to positive 28, which makes it 0. Okay, the last number that you get is always going to be your remainder. These are the coefficients of your terms. Okay, so remember we took something that was x to the 3rd, and we divided it by something that's x to the 1st. So x to the 3rd divided by x to the 1st is x to the 2nd. So this is the coefficient of the degree that's 1 less than what we started with, x squared. This is the coefficient of x to the 1st. This is the coefficient of x to the 0. So now we're going to go ahead and write out our quotient. So we would say it's 1x squared minus 5x minus 7x to the 0, which is actually x squared minus x minus 7. And my divisor, remember, I got to have the 0, which is x is 2. Now we do coefficients. First, I make sure I have all of the ones I need. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, negative 22, positive 37, negative 10. And now we bring down. We multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. So remember, we're multiplying. Add. And that would be negative 16. Then we multiply, negative 32. We add, we multiply, we add. So remember, if this was x cubed, then this is the coefficient of x squared. Then everything goes down from there, x to the first, x to the 0, remainder. There's no remainder, so this is our quotient. Okay, and that's it.